When did bros before hoes stop being a joke in your relationship? My ex-boyfriend told me I was toxic for asking him to skip one guy's night for our anniversary. He spent that anniversary at a strip club for his friend's divorce party. The first time he ditched me, I stood outside the movie theater in a dress I'd bought specifically for our date while rain soaked through my jacket and my phone buzzed with bros before hoes, but you're not a hoe lol, like those 3 letters would make it cute instead of rule. Later I watched him leap over furniture to catch his drunk friend, but when I fainted from low blood sugar at his apartment, he stepped over my body to grab his phone because the group chat was blowing up about playoff tickets. Every weekend belonged to his friends without exception, and the one time I showed up uninvited, his whole body went rigid like I'd violated some sacred sanctuary. He spent that entire night apologizing to everyone for bringing his girlfriend to guys' night while I sat alone pretending not to exist. His favorite response became, "Babe, you knew who I was when we started dating, and trying to change me is really toxic behavior." After I'd eaten dinner alone for the 6th weekend straight while watching his Instagram stories of him doing shots with crowds that definitely included other girlfriends despite his no girlfriends rule that apparently only applied to me. Our first anniversary fell on a Saturday, which meant he was at a strip club for his buddy's divorce party instead of with me. When I showed him the reservation confirmation for the restaurant where we'd had our first date, he laughed and said, "You really thought I'd skip this for some overpriced pasta when we can literally get dinner any other night that isn't a weekend?" Then things got serious when a pregnancy test showed 2 lines on a Thursday morning while he screamed at 12-year-olds through his gaming headset in the next room. And when I showed it to him, his first words weren't about our future, but, "Are you sure it's mine? Because that night when you went to your sister's, you were acting super weird." I went through 11 weekends of pregnancy alone while he was out with the guys, until I woke at 4 in the morning with cramps like my insides were being pulled apart and blood everywhere. I drove myself to the emergency room because he was on a plane to Vegas for a boys' trip they'd had planned for months. The doctor held the ultrasound wand against my stomach in silence, and I knew before she spoke that the heartbeat was gone. When I called him sobbing, he said, "Well, there's nothing I can do from here anyway, so might as well make the best of the trip since it's already paid for, and the guys would kill me if I bailed now." My sister's wedding invitation sat on our counter for 3 months with his name in beautiful calligraphy next to mine. The morning of the wedding, he was on his couch in basketball shorts setting his fantasy football lineup while I stood in my bridesmaid dress with my suitcase by the door. Draft day is sacred, and you know this happens every Labor Day weekend. Your sister should have planned better if she wanted people to actually show up. My sister's new husband had his friends standing as groomsmen actually participating instead of pre-gaming in parking lots, and that's when I understood the difference between boys who play at relationships and men who build them. My coworker picked me up from the airport and drove straight to his apartment where I shoved everything into garbage bags while he watched the game at another friend's house. I left a note saying, "Hope your boys keep you warm at night," with my key on top. I made plans for solo dates to help me prioritize myself, and then one day, a man at a bookstore cafe asked if the chair across from me was taken, and instead of checking his phone, he asked about my book and listened without his eyes glazing over. Our first date lasted 6 hours because he kept asking questions about my life, and when his phone buzzed, he turned it face down without glancing at it. After 3 happy years with my new man, my ex sent me desperate Facebook messages about needing to talk urgently. Against every instinct, I met him at a coffee shop where he looked like he'd been crying for days. His fiancée had walked into the bridal suite and announced to her entire family that she refused to marry someone whose groomsmen showed up drunk to the ceremony from the bachelor party he'd insisted on having the night before, despite her begging him to do it earlier. All those friends I picked over you are married with kids now and don't return my calls because their wives think I'm a bad influence. And I'm 32, sitting alone every weekend wondering how I ended up exactly where I started, except now nobody's waiting for me. I pulled out my phone showing him the video my husband sent that morning of our daughter laughing while he made ridiculous faces during breakfast. This broken man across from me never once made me laugh like that in 2 years. You didn't lose anything because losing implies you valued it, and the only thing you valued was making sure your boys knew you weren't whipped.